Hello, welcome to LifeTalk. I'm Mark Crutcher. It's July 30th, 2019, and I'm going to reverse the intro today. We're going to intro Ernie, the frilled-necked lizard, first, because we keep on forgetting him, but there he is, the frilled-necked Republican, actually, as we call him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's joining us today, and I'm also joined by my daughter, Sheila.
Hi.
And my assistant, Renee. Hello, Renee.
Hello, nice to be here.
And we've got a few things in the news to talk about today. First off, I want to bring up something that I've talked about before and I've written some articles about. America's birth rate has now reached a historic low. Mm-hmm. We're not even close to replacement population.
Nope.
And this is a disaster waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
To our economy.
Well, it's not just us, it's happening across the world.
Right.
Yeah, where abortion is legal.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to give you an example of this, in Hungary, and of course we're talking about the old Soviet bloc countries where abortion was widely practiced. When the Soviet Union collapsed, they did a survey of people within the Soviet Union. The average woman had 9 abortions. Mm-hmm. 9 abortions. 90% of all first pregnancies were aborted, and 60% of all subsequent pregnancies were aborted. Mm-hmm. It has devastated their economy. Hungary now is giving women $35,000 for the third baby that they have.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
In Japan, the Japanese are facing an absolute tsunami of economic problems because their birth rate is so low.
Yeah.
And
I think there's 3 or 4 males to 1 female. Mm-hmm. I just remember this one story. It still haunts me, where this guy was flying with his little daughter, and he had, or I don't know how old she was, but he had to actually handcuff, to him, so nobody would take her.
Right.
And it's such a sad situation.
Well, and other European countries have all in the past, paid for women to have babies. I mean, they kill them and then they say, oops, we're in trouble now, so have the government try to...
We're right there with them in America.
Right.
The only thing that is bailing this country out right now is immigration.
Well, and I was about to bring that up, is the article that you've written, their dirty little secret in the immigration battle, and that explains exactly why we need to keep the immigration, the Hispanics here.
We have to. Our economy, and of course we know this in Texas for sure. If you took all the illegals out of Texas right now and put them back in Mexico or Guatemala or wherever they come from,
Right.
the Texas economy would collapse overnight.
Yeah.
Already there was an article in the Dallas paper here not long ago. The North Texas area is booming. I mean, you can't drive anywhere in North Texas without seeing construction, and it's really getting aggravating. But nonetheless, they say there are 10,000 jobs open in North Texas that they cannot fill, and that the only thing that is holding up the economy, as much as it is being held up, is a labor shortage. We have aborted ourselves into an economic disaster, and the only thing that's bailing us out is immigration.
Yeah.
Well, the bigger issue, I think, is Social Security. You have baby boomers, and it's true with other countries where older people, there's not enough people to help take care of them.
People, right.
Yeah, and so you have a dying age population.
It's this is a ticking time bomb in the United States, and the Social Security issue is a big one. Baby boomers, people my age, are retiring right now at the rate of 10,000 a day. 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day. There's not enough younger people out there to pay for them.
Nope, because y'all aborted. Your generation aborted all of us.
Right. We aborted 25 to 30% of the generation that was supposed to pay into the Social Security system. That basically Social Security, if you think about it, is a government-run Ponzi scheme. You give people all these promises, you bring new people in to pay for it. Eventually it collapses.
Right.
And one of the reasons it collapses is because you run out of people. Well, that's where we are with Social Security.
I want to speak to people my generation. A lot of people my generation hate baby boomers because of what they perceive them to have done to the country, the social justice warriors. What my generation needs to be mad about is the baby boomers that legalized abortion and that aborted all of us. That's what people my age should be angry about.
Yeah, it should, because now these chickens are coming home to roost, and it's obscene. But actually, if you think about it for a minute, Sheila, it wasn't the baby boomers who legalized abortion. The Supreme Court in 1973 didn't have any baby boomers on it. It was all people from the previous generation
That's true. But it was the baby boomers.
who used it.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
And the ramifications of it have been staggering,
Right.
and we haven't even paid the price yet, but we're going to. And when we stopped looking at babies as a blessing and started seeing them as a burden,
Right.
we sealed our own fate right that minute.
Yes.
Anyway,
Exactly.
you had some stories you wanted to get to.
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to bring people up to date about the Covington Catholic student that went to the march this past January
Right.
and was confronted from a Native American person. His name is Nathan Phillips, saying that he was blocking him and that he couldn't get through, and that Nicholas and his peers were chanting to drown out all of the hateful
Right.
rhetoric that was being said towards them. And the thing was that they were just waiting at the Lincoln Memorial for their bus to come, and they had permission to do this chant. The Washington Post has smeared him and his family's name. He got in major trouble from his school. He was going to get kicked out. They recanted when they figured out what the real truth was. But
And the truth was that it was
Nathan Phillips.
he was the one causing the trouble.
Yeah.
He was confronting them. They were just standing there.
They were just standing there.
And I'll tell you something, that guy, Phillips, is very fortunate of who he picked on.
Yeah,
There's a
young
lot
junior.
if I would not have stood there like that. That
Right.
guy was very disciplined, very Christian-like in his response.
Well,
Nathan Phillips would probably still be in the hospital.
Well, you see who these kind of people pick on, right?
Right.
He picked on a bunch of young kids.
Defenseless.
Yeah, a bunch of pro-lifers that get hurt, or older ladies who are peacefully protesting, or younger kids. They prey on the weak,
Right.
or who they consider to be weak. They're not going to stand up to like some burly guy who could kick their butt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, the Washington Post, one of their articles was the Catholic Church's shameful history of Native American abuse. Anyways, his family sued for $250 million, and the judge dismissed that and said that it was an opinion piece from Mr. Phillips, and that it's covered by First Amendment
Basically,
law.
the godless leftist media can say anything they want
That's right.
to say.
And we're not protected
And-
at
and
all.
If it were reversed,
Mm-hmm.
if it had turned out to be what the media reported it to be,
Right.
this young man would be in jail.
Yes. Yeah.
And
he should be.
It's obscene.
Yeah.
It's an obscenity what's going on in this country.
Yeah.
But
Well, the family is going to appeal it, so
good.
I hope
And
they get somewhere the next time.
so you find this leftist judge who's going to say no, that the media can say anything they want to about this teenage boy
Right.
who stood there and did not do a thing.
Right.
Stood right there
Yep.
and just took it
Right.
from this degenerate Indian or whatever he was. Just stood there and took it. And yet the media zeroed in on him. He and his family got death threats.
Yeah. It was serious.
It's serious business.
People in the neighborhood,
Yep.
kids at school, yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, I want to bring up something here too. I've got one other story I want to talk about. No, I tell you what, I'm going to leave this till we get back from robots. You had a couple of things.
Yeah, talking about judges, left judges, and their bias, and a judge blocks abortion regulations in Arkansas. So a federal judge temporarily blocked several new regulations on abortion clinics. District Court Judge Christine Baker issued a 14-day injunction on laws that would help,
The safety, health and safety standards.
exactly, would help babies. Instead, she blocked regulations, one of which was a ban on abortions after 18 weeks of pregnancy. That would have caused the last abortion clinic to close, which is why she probably blocked it.
Right.
And then also another one would be a law that would ban abortions based solely on a Down syndrome diagnosis.
Well, it's interesting about this. You mentioned this would be the last abortion clinic in Arkansas. I'll guarantee you, when these health and safety standards are passed, we passed ones in Texas that said an abortion clinic has to meet the same surgical standards, health and safety standards
Surgical
as any
center.
other outpatient
Yeah.
surgical center.
Right.
The pro-aborts went berserk.
Right.
Right. In this situation in Arkansas, let's say there had been 20 abortion clinics in Arkansas, she would not have issued that ruling.
No.
Yeah, because they need that one. Well, I think there's two, but they need it standing. They need it there.
So what they're saying is, yeah, these standards might be okay.
Right.
And they might protect women and make it safer for them to go have their babies killed.
Right.
It might make it safer. But if we're down to one abortion clinic,
We got to hold out.
so in other words, what they're really doing is they're doing the bidding of the abortion industry.
Right.
The abortion industry is saying, if you close that place down with these safety standards,
Right.
we're not going to have any place to kill babies in Arkansas.
Yeah.
So she basically caves in and says, okay, we'll keep it open then.
Yeah, well, and there is another one in Arkansas, Planned Parenthood, that shut down just last week, and they're banking on opening up another one in Arkansas, a mega center, and they're holding out on it.
It's obscene what's going on here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Judges are supposed to uphold the law, but in all these cases where there's trying to be implemented abortion regulations, judges, are clearly biased in blocking those regulations for some obscene reasons. Her reason that she stated was because of ongoing and imminent irreparable harm to patients that it would cause if these regulations went into effect.
So in other words, if we
not-
increase the safety standards, if we don't increase the safety standards, we're not going to cause irreparable harm.
Right.
Yeah, and-
They're going to be okay.
And let's just forget about all the Down syndrome children. It's okay to kill them if they're diagnosed with Down syndrome. Who cares?
Right, exactly.
Let's just throw them away. Society would be better. That's what they say.
Well, this kind of goes along with the Planned Parenthood president that was fired last week or 2 weeks ago, however long it's been. She came out with an article saying that she was trying to she wanted to reinforce the health,
Not focus strictly on abortion.
Thank you. I'm trying to not to focus strictly on abortion, but the health care of the women and children. And she obviously wasn't pro-abortion enough for.
Yeah, and that's the point. This woman is radically pro-abortion.
Right.
Makes no bones about it. She is a radical baby killer.
Yeah.
And yet she wasn't pro-abortion enough for Planned Parenthood, so they got rid of her, threw her out.
Well, that's what. But in reality, you did a Facebook video post on this. She came out and said a few months ago on Twitter that Planned Parenthood, was about abortion. That it wasn't just about, health clinics.
She
and
let the
stuff.
cat out of the bag.
Yeah, that it actually is about abortion.
Right.
Well, a few months later, she gets let go. So
gone.
that's probably the real reason. I mean,
Yep.
she just told the truth.
She let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah,
That's
she admits that there was immediate criticism that I did not pry towards abortion enough. So, well, anyways, the
like I
truth
said.
is out. And
So this woman's a radical pro-abort, but she wasn't pro-abort enough
Yeah.
for Planned Parenthood to keep her on.
unfortunately.
Pretty sad.
Yes.
Anyway, you had something else, Sheila, you wanted to get to?
This just shows, the story I have just shows the mindset of these people, these abortion providers, how they just kind of put aside in their mind what abortion really is. A abortionist named Zoe Thill a New York City abortion provider held a workshop basically using papaya to practice abortions on.
It's fruits.
Yeah. Well, this is apparently a new trend to help destigmatize abortion and show people how abortion is performed. This was shown to people, abortion supporters, or people who wanted to know how abortion was performed. These are non-medical people. They used papayas on. They basically treated the papaya like a uterus, and then the fruit
Seeds, right.
as the baby. When performing it for people, Phil, the abortionist, admired the seeds in the plastic tube, saying that, quote, "This is a really blanking good one."
Starts with an F.
It's even, it's even more satisfying when it's a real abortion.
Yeah.
So we get our jollies.
Yeah. So she's taking delight in pretending that this papaya is, a real abortion, with the seeds being the babies. And they say that the point of papaya workshops isn't necessarily to teach people how to perform abortion, but she wanted to educate people about what an abortion procedure entails, to help combat fear, misinformation, and stigma. I just want to be clear that when you leave here, you won't be competent in providing abortion, she said, but she wants people to know what abortions are.
Okay, so she'd be, this godless degenerate would be one of the first people to object if you said, okay, I tell you what, if you want people to really know what an abortion is, let's do this. Let's have a national television show, and we're going to show a sonogram of an unborn baby, fetus, zygote, whatever you want to call it,
Being aborted.
in the womb, and we're going to show the procedure, and then we're going to show the baby in a petri dish after it's over.
Yeah.
Now, this is not papaya seeds.
Yeah.
We don't have to say this is symbolic. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
And she'd be one of the first ones to object to that.
Yeah, because it's all safe and fun on a papaya, because
Right.
Papaya is making people think that, abortion's a no big deal. Well, this isn't the real thing. That's not a living human being. And she even later told people that she hopes to eventually host events for people providing underground abortions.
That's what this is about.
So the FBI needs to be on her case and be looking at her, because not only does she want to provide these stupid papaya workshops, but she wants to teach people how to do underground abortions.
And there are abortion providers that are behind this, but nobody wants to say who they are because they
Right.
could get in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, they've already admitted that if the Supreme Court or whoever state legislatures pass laws protecting the unborn, they're going to violate the law. And they're always the ones that are the first to say, oh, you pro-lifers, you need to respect this law. That it's, if you say, well, abortion shouldn't be done. Yes, but it's legal, so therefore,
It's
okay,
safe.
all right, now if it's illegal, what's going to be your...
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the CPC's having to post where you can get an abortion,
Right.
the phone number.
Right.
It's the same difference.
Well,
Same deal.
these are the people that say, oh, we want abortion to be legal so it can be safe. And so right now abortion's legal, but at the same time they're still wanting to host underground abortion workshops.
Yeah.
How is that safe?
Yeah.
Just like they want abortion pills to be available through mail, where no doctor is monitoring the outcome. How is that safe?
It's not. It's only safe for the 60-year-old guy that's molesting some 12-year-old girl and got her pregnant.
Or the
That's
dr-
the one it's safe
Or
for.
the loser female abortionist who all she cares about is money and not really her patients.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's take a time out here for robots, and when we come back, I want to talk about Joe Biden's views on the death penalty and abortion. Anyway, we'll be right back.
In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court legalized abortion nationwide. The decision is called Roe v. Wade, and those who defend it are known as robots. This is how they think.
I agree that abortion is wrong, but it is not an issue that our government has a right to be involved in.
This is standard pro-abortion double talk. It is also the rhetoric of cowards who know exactly what abortion is, but don't have the courage to stand up against it. Remember, the only rational basis for saying that abortion is wrong is the recognition that it takes the lives of living human beings. There is simply no other reason for saying that it's wrong. So what these people are saying is, if someone wants to slaughter this one particular group of human beings, it's none of the government's business. But these same people are fine with government regulation of the transportation, manufacturing, and service sectors in almost every other part of American society. So the question is, what is it that causes them to conclude that an industry whose only product is dead human beings is somehow off limits? Again, this is nonsense. The fact is, one of the legitimate responsibilities of government is to protect the weak from the strong. Sometimes that means protecting people from burglars. Sometimes it means protecting children from child molesters and human traffickers. Sometimes it means protecting consumers from dishonest businesses. Sometimes it means protecting the public from corporations who pollute the air. And sometimes it means protecting the nation against terrorist and military invasions. The list goes on, but the point is that if abortion is wrong, in other words, if it does indeed take the lives of innocent and helpless human beings, the question is not whether the government has a right to intervene, but whether it has the right not to. And the fact is, any government that chooses to look the other way at this Holocaust has lost its moral authority to even exist. All right. You know, one of the standard things that you'll hear from pro-aborts, they'll say, you're hypocritical because all you conservatives oppose abortion, but you support the death penalty, right?
Not all.
Not all. I don't. None of us here do.
I don't support the
We're
death
all
penalty.
opposed to the death penalty.
Yeah. Well, except for Sarah, but she's a different story.
She's not here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I think if you were to, my experience has been, if you go out into the pro-life movement and you poll people on the death penalty, and then you poll the general public, I think you'd find there's less support for the death penalty among pro-lifers than there is among the public at large. Mm-hmm. Pro-aborts don't care about anything like that. But here's what I want to ask. If it's hypocritical to be pro-life and not support the killing of the unborn, but be pro-death penalty, then why wouldn't the reverse also be true?
Yeah.
That it's hypocritical to say, I oppose the death penalty, but I support abortion, because that's a death penalty for the unborn child, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Except they don't stand trial.
Yeah, there's no trial, there's no jury, there's no appeal.
And
right.
For those that do support, pro-lifers that do support the death penalty, there is a difference because you have a criminal who's found guilty.
Committed murder.
Yeah. So, needs to be punished. And then you have an innocent baby that has done nothing but simply just
be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly.
That's what the unborn child, the 60 million babies that have been butchered so far by these animals, the crime that these children committed was they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, that's it.
Well, that's how other people perceive it, but they're not at the wrong place at the wrong time because God put them there. They're supposed to be there.
Yeah, but I'm saying what they're saying
The eyes of the mother.
In the eyes of the pro-aborts, they're at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Anyway, this lunatic Joe Biden, and this guy is not very tightly wrapped. I hope, and I think Donald Trump is hoping this, that he is the nominee of the Democratic Party.
Oh, I think he will be.
And Donald Trump will rip him to shreds.
Yeah, I wonder how all the Hillary Clinton and Warren supporters will feel with the hair-sniffing lunatic for the Democratic Party.
And he's a pedophile.
Oh,
I don't care what you say. Go on YouTube and look at some of those videos of him almost molesting these little kids with a TV camera on him and their parents.
Well,
he's
just a creeper across the board because he sniffs grown hair women's hair. I mean, how is that normal? He does it up on stage too. You would think, he would be smart enough to do it when he's not on stage, but he does it in front of cameras.
It's
and he's
amazing.
the people's nominee.
Right.
This is fetish.
Right.
This is the Democratic Party probably going to be the nominee.
He's anyway. But now, he's always, at one time, he kind of claimed to be semi-pro-life. He was lying. He's always been a liar. But, and he was also very much opposed to the death penalty. I mean, very much a supporter of the death penalty. and even called for it to be expanded beyond what it is right now on the federal level and on the state level. Now, all of a sudden, because you've got all these hardcore Marxists that are opposed to the death penalty running the Democratic Party, he's all of a sudden decided now he's opposed to the death penalty. But he used to be opposed to federal funding of abortion. Now he's in favor of it. So in other words, the new Biden position is, I don't want to see as many murderers executed, but I want to see more babies executed. And that's what his position is. I think Trump's going to hold his feet to the fire on that.
Yeah, well, in reality, we don't know what his true position is. He's just playing politician and pandering to the Democratic Party.
I can tell you what his true position is on everything. It's whatever the Democratic Party tells him.
I know, but I'm talking about his true conviction.
Yeah, I mean, he's
But-
having to flip-flop because of the radical agenda that they have,
Right.
and he has to meet that standard.
But let's remember, Republicans do that too. I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
why we have the frilled neck lizard up here.
You mean the frill-necked Republican?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's not true with just him about this whole death penalty and abortion issue. It's true with basically all Democrats.
Yep.
They want to protect criminals, but they don't want to protect babies.
Right. Again, I take the position. I don't think, let me make something clear. I am very much opposed to the death penalty. And I think that's why Sheila's opposed to it, because I raised her that way.
No,
Yes, it
no,
is.
no, no.
I know, you don't want to.
You sought to be fully opposed to the death penalty.
Huh?
When I was in school, I remember I did a debate on the death penalty, and it got you to thinking.
No.
Yes.
I was always opposed to it, long before you were born. But anyway, they say it's hypocritical to be opposed to abortion but support the death penalty. I oppose the death penalty, but I don't think it's hypocritical
No, it isn't.
if somebody is pro-life and supports the death penalty. I think they're wrong, but I don't think it's hypocritical.
It's not hypocritical.
You got to draw a distinction between not only a baby that's innocent in the womb, but is incapable of having ever done anything.
Right.
Right. And a guy who may have committed mass murders or tortured and people and killed them or whatever, raped people.
Yeah.
If you can't see a distinction between the victims of those two, then you've got a major problem.
And the distinction between the right to life from the moment of conception to
Fertilization, yeah.
fertilization to
Right.
having lived your life and then committed crime.
Committed all these crimes,
Yeah,
and taking other people's lives away from them. Anyway, y'all got anything else?
Nothing else? Nope.
You're out?
Yep.
Wow. That's weird. You don't have anything to say.
Well, I mean,
You're done.
we've gotten some good show ideas this past week, which we really appreciate. And if you give us a show idea, we'll give you a mug.
Yeah.
You can contact me.
Yeah, if we get a show idea and we use it, then we'll
Yeah.
give you a
Yep.
mug.
And
Contact,
sometimes we get a
email,
show
or-
idea that we don't use. We send them a mug.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we do use those show ideas
Eventually.
Later on.
When
yeah,
it's
that's right.
kind of
Anyway, that's all the time we got. Remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how the killing stops. We'll see you next week.